What it do? It's your boy, Illuminated D. And you know what I'm saying? We back with another one. So, just got to the crib. And I wanted to jump right into the whole conversation of men then and men now. So, I know Pop's been going on a trivial aspect of the different dynamics in the relationship dating pool. So I kind of wanted to tap into it and start talking about what's the difference between how men operated back in the day into how men are operating now. So looking at my dad's generation, right? They had to deal with different trials and tribulations. And based off of the history and the timeline that men that are in their 50s, 60s, 70s were raised in, they had to deal with trying times. Times of uncertainty, the water fountains, the segregations and, separations. And they had to really tap in and put their best foot forward to prove themselves. You know what I'm saying? They had to prove that they weren't just what the immediate environment was saying that they were, right? They had to be better. They had to be more disciplined. They had to be protectors and providers because there was a lot of predators out there that were after the families. There was a lot of, discriminations. There was a lot of adversity. And there wasn't much verbalization that could be had back in those days. So there had to be an understanding between the dynamics of the families in order to keep the whole family safe. So if you're in your maybe early 40s, early 30s, mid 30s, late 20s, you're a millennial, you're a millennial. And looking at the different dynamics, they say strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. So hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create hard times, and then it becomes a cycle. So looking at the dynamic of how they had to portray themselves, how they had to hold themselves, how they had to be more disciplined. And this isn't just looking at one perspective culture, because we got the African American community, we got the Asian community, we got the Latin community, we have the Caucasian community. Everybody had their different trials and tribulations. So I don't want to go too far into history, but everybody had their trials and tribulations. Even though it wasn't necessarily directly ball, whips, and chained, they all had their adversities. Boston Tea Party, we can go there. But I just want to bring up the dynamic of men then had to be more disciplined, because in building the nation at the time and where it was transforming to get us here today, you see what I'm saying? To get us to this point. Now, looking at the dynamic, there wasn't a lot of freedoms to be had for both sides of the party. So back then, money was different, inflation was different, so men just had to be providers. It was either you provide or you don't have a family. And everybody was having families, everybody was having kids. That's why they're saying now there's a paradigm shift where nobody wants to have kids. And I don't think it's that nobody wants to have kids. I think that people are starting to wake up and they're starting to realize that with the current inflation rates and having children, now you have a helpless child who can't defend themselves, they can't protect themselves, they can't feed themselves, and you're bringing them into a world where if you're already suffering, it's hard to sustain your lifestyle. So if you can barely feed yourself, how you gonna feed the kid? And how you gonna feed your wife? Because that's 3 mouths that you gotta feed. So back then, they had to put their best foot forward, and no matter what, you know what I'm saying, the dynamic of family was very important. It was just very important because that was their lineage and they had to protect that. So they had something to protect, something to provide for, and they were willing to die for it, right? Now let's fast forward to millennials. Let's fast forward to 2024. I think men nowadays, we're just getting wiser. You know, if we go back and listen to a lot of the R&B music, right? A lot of the dudes were simping. They were simping so hard. And there's nothing wrong for simping for your girl because she's that special person for you. But all the R&B singers were simping. They were at the bedroom window, begging, crying, sad. Oh, she left me. This hurts. This is hard times. So when you look at the dynamic of that was baby making music, but crazy enough, why were we listening to all that sad rap music? Everybody's complaining about the trap music because it's crazy. Like they're talking about people 24/7. But back then, why is it they were simping? They were simped out so hard. And there's nothing wrong, like I said, for simping for your girl. But they were simping to the whole world, and they were changing the mindset of the people, right? Which turned a lot of people into simps. So now what they do is they beg and they cry and they complain, right? And I'm talking about the men. I'm not talking about the women. Because you know what I'm saying? They already, they get blessed in a different way just because. But the dynamic of it is women had to fight for their own rights too. You see what I'm saying? But when it comes to just the dating pool relationship, men back then and men now, people, you know what I'm saying, we have to realize how this all came into play. So if you start looking at men now and the paradigm shift, people are just getting wiser. They're starting to look at inflation. They're starting to look at how much money they make. We have ChatGPT that literally will tell you, well, if you don't have this much money saved up and then you have to pay for Pampers, you know, all this different stuff, then you probably should get yourself in order. And you probably should focus on getting your bag right, getting your future straight, and then focusing on the family. Because you can imagine the dudes back in the day, right? They had to go to work every single day nonstop. And then the woman in the house took care of the kids because back then it was just a harder lifestyle. And it was a more male predominant workforce. Now it's evened out, it's spread out and it's even, which is a beautiful thing because we're able to distribute the load. We're able to learn how to work together as a team. We're able to learn how to cultivate and communicate between both the dynamics without feeling like somebody is more superior than the other. Because at the end of the day, men wouldn't be here if it weren't for women, just how women wouldn't be here if it weren't for men. So it takes a team, right? But when I come back to the dynamic of men today, is we're looking at all these different dynamics and we're putting these pinpoints and saying, oh, men are predators and, you know, all this different stuff, right? But the truth of it is that we just got social media. We just got it back in 2007. You know what I'm saying? If we really look at the dynamics, so everything that was already happening, I'm telling you, like, if we start going back in the day to, like, go and see if your grandparents really are your grandparents. Because I guarantee you, they didn't have birth tests. They didn't have the tests back then. So a lot of sheesh. I don't even want to say that on camera, high key. I don't even want to say that, but I just want to say you shit. Go and check it out. Because a lot of people might not be people's. You feel me? You feel me? And I only say that because when we got social media, all it did was allow to publicize what was already happening to be brought to light faster. So I don't want to say men today changed. I just want to look at it like back then, there were strong men in the household. In today's time, we do have strong men in the households, but people are getting smarter. And because they're getting smarter, they don't want to settle for less. Nobody wants to settle for less. Women want the hypergamy. You know what I'm saying? We all like nice and shiny things, but if you can get the nice and shiny things for doing less, shit, there's nothing wrong with that. And if you got to put in a little work to get the nice and shiny things, there's nothing wrong with that. But I want to let you know that the difference is that we're getting more educated, we're getting smarter. You feel me? We're putting in more work. We're figuring out how to use leverage. We're leveraging our assets. You feel me? We're getting places faster. And with that being said, I don't think that we should put so much emphasis on, you know, who did better, who did what, why is it that the older generation was a better provider than the new generation? Back then, they had to be. There was deadbeats. There was Pookies and Ray Rays back then too. You feel me? I think every single person has that timeline where they can end up being a Pookie or a Ray Ray. You feel me? A Pookie. You feel me? I ain't gonna be no Pookie. You feel me? I ain't no Pookie. I ain't built for that Pookie behavior. Yeah, I done been in the streets and I done seen my fair share. But at the end of it all, I think that the main goal should be financial literacy, financial freedom, and figure out creative ways in order to get to that goal. If not, Pops always said it best, we gonna die on the job. So, I ain't trying to die on the job. I ain't trying to die flipping a patty. I ain't trying to pass dumping a box of fries. You feel me? I ain't trying to do it like that. I don't know what God has planned, but what I do have is faith. And I do firmly believe that if you want to be of value, you're going to provide value. You're going to be value. You're going to be an asset in general. Just, it might not even be monetary things. You feel me? It's all about the type of energy that you put out into the earth. Put out into the frequency, the universe, manifesting it and believing it and achieving it. Because we all want to be successful in life and we all want to be somewhere. But in order to do that, you got to do something that you ain't never done before. And that's the reason that we doing this right here, right now. I want to thank you to all the subscribers for commenting, and subscribing. I really believe that this channel has something for everybody, and that everybody can benefit from just a little bit of the knowledge. You don't have to watch every single video, but just tap in sometimes, because these conversations are the conversations that are going to change history. They're going to change lives. We're going to be bringing on so many different individuals that have different mindsets, different topics, different, history points and times, different belief systems. And we're going to have the conversations transparently. And we're going to all go up together and we're going to all be successful. We're going to all be successful. And just like Pop says, strive to be better today than you were yesterday, all right? Everybody be blessed, be safe. We out.